Might be wondering what this whole thing is all about. The intent is threefold. I have three goals for this whole workshop that's going to continue for 8 weeks, starting today. First goal is probably a high-level goal. The second goal is probably a minimum level goal that we have to achieve for this year. And then the third one is a personal goal of mine. So first goal, high-level goal, is we as a company have signed for Architecture 2030, but it is such a vast subject and there are a lot of confusion. So what this energy workshop is all about is try to break this down into simple pieces so that we can digest those pieces easily. So that's the high-level goal. Every one of you should be able to achieve that goal, and that's the intent. Number two is minimum level goal. Okay, how many of you here know what EUI stands for?
What stands for?
EUI. Great. How many of you know what your EUI of the project that you're working on?
Do you know what the EUI is on our project?
No. Third question. Well, we'll answer that next year. The third question. How many of you have asked the question about EUI on your projects?
Which question?
To whoever, the team member, to yourself.
What's the question?
Have you inquired about what the EUI is?
Oh.
No?
Did we have to do an echo check?
Maybe a couple of projects. But what I'm getting at is, it's not on our minds. We don't think about these things. So at the minimum level goal for this year is at least everyone should ask the question. So that's my goal, to make sure that you guys are asking the questions at least. If we don't know the answer, that's fine. We'll figure it out next year. But as a minimum, we should ask the question. And this workshop hopefully will explain why we should ask that question. Okay? Last one, my personal goal is, I know this is a vast subject, and what I want to do is go through the research, books, online, different tools, and try to pull the information that's very relevant to us and make sure to communicate that in simple graphics, phrases, so that the next time you think of EUI, one of these images should come to your mind. That's my personal goal. Yes?
That's a question. Is energy utilization part of all projects in the office, or certain project, or is it part of the basic service? How does it fit into the architectural practice?
Great question. That'll be answered in week 2. Okay. So a couple of, well, before I start, I just want to throw out a couple of disclaimers. I don't claim myself to be an expert in energy. I'm just pulling whatever's out there and bringing it forward to you guys. So let us make this a discussion as much as possible. Okay? And then, just so I said that, please question everything I say. Make sure that you understand this. Okay? 2 disclaimers. All right. A couple of housekeeping items. I have all these workshop sessions will have learning units, so please go ahead and start signing these names and AIA numbers. Really? And also, I would need a volunteer every week to keep me on track as far as time goes. Knowing Ben's closest.
Oh, great.
Voluntarily volunteer Ben.
You're going to volunteer me?
If you don't mind. And the schedule for today is, and for each week is, the first 10 minutes or so we'll review the last week's homework and quizzes.
So probably already 10 minutes ahead, so we're good.
Yes. And then, this week is overview.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So then after that, we'll review the content for 30 minutes. And then each week, I'm going to introduce a tool. So we'll review that tool for 10 minutes. And then we'll have a quiz for 5 minutes or so. And then we'll review the quiz for 5 minutes. So Ben, please keep me on track. We finished our overview. We're already running late. All right. And I sent you a list of topics to be covered on the email invite, or the, I don't know if you have had a chance to look through them. If you haven't, here's a copy. I just only printed 15 of them.
That's fine. I'm sure.
Shared. Okay. So the overview of the course, as I mentioned, mostly it's going to be talking, and we're going to show some tools for some time, and then hopefully we'll have homework for each week. And again, not a whole lot of work, just simple things to do, and then we'll review them. So for today, I'm going to go over what we're going to cover for the next 8 weeks, starting today. So today we're going to cover this topic, comfort. And for some of you, you may recognize this pyramid from one of our discussions. And we're calling this the energy pyramid. And just from a simple concept, the more you go down, it takes more cost, more design effort, and more time. So as far as reducing energy goes, the best is to do it right here with an envelope and comfort. The more you go down, it costs more coordination, more time, more money. So we're going to discuss this graphic a lot, and we'll come back to this. And I just wanted to mention one more time that the quizzes that we'll have each week will be going over these sketches and these topics. So if you don't take notes, it's okay, because it'll be on the quiz. Yes, David?
Is there another, the image I'm remembering from the 2030 challenge that went up in Seattle was they had, I think it was envelope on the bottom and then lighting and HVAC as the biggest impact they could have as they were trying to minimize, or maximize the energy benefits.
Uh-huh.
So I've seen another pyramid, so I don't.
The other way around. And I understand. And
Okay.
I acknowledge that there is another
Because I
way
have
of
a different
thinking
image
about
in my
it.
head now, I'm seeing this one, so I'm
Right.
like answering
So-
the quiz. So.
Do we want to stick with this? Okay. This is my thought.
Uh-huh.
The reason is we don't focus enough on comfort, and that's what we're going to talk about today, because that changes the ballgame totally on defining comfort. So I think that's the pinnacle of all these things, and that's why we're doing this.
Okay.
So I kind of flipped it.
All right. Straight.
Good catch. Okay? So that's this week, and we'll talk about this graphic a lot. And week number 2, we're going to talk about what EUI is. EUI stands for Energy Use Intensity, and it changes for different type of projects that we
Can you
do.
say that again slower?
Energy Use Intensity. It won't be on the quiz today.
It won't?
Next week, too.
Okay.
Week 2. So we'll talk about what EUI means, how do we find that out, and how do we make sure that's right or wrong. And then week 3, once we know this target, and I was looking for a red pen, I didn't have one, so it's pink, so bear with me. Let's say this is. I was going for the target sign, right? And that's what we want to find, target. So once we know the target, the big number, let's say a 40 or something, what do you know what makes up that target? We don't know. How much of it is lighting? How much of it is cooling? How much of it is heating? We don't know. And that's what energy analysis will tell us. And we'll find out how to do that on week 3. Once you know the breakdown in week 3, the next step is to take big pieces of this big puzzle. Energy, lighting, envelope, lighting, and HVAC. And then each week we look at how to reduce, how to shave off a portion from just envelope design. And then the next week we look at how to shave off energy from just lighting design. The last week we look at HVAC design. What can we do within our budgets for different project types and whatnot. So far clear, everyone? Okay? But it's not enough.
Oh.
Problem is, HVAC, lighting, and envelope only tell part of the story. There's all these other things. Ventilation, operation, fans, pumps, controls. that only the mechanical engineer pays attention to. So these things are far more important, I mean, it's equally important as the other things on how we control the building.
And how the owner is using the building.
Correct.
Kind of drives some of that stuff.
Correct. And that's what we'll look at in this week, week number 7, and that'll fall under energy modeling. Yes?
Now that you're talking about the piece of the pie, and it just reminds me that if you go back to your pyramid and look at the priorities, would that vary, you put the comfort at the top of the pyramid, would that vary from project to project?
Yes. Good point. And that's what we'll talk about today, how it does. So, and I will make a distinction between energy analysis and energy modeling on week 7. So please understand that there is a difference. Okay. So once we're done with that, week 8, we'll have an exam. Basically just going through all of our sessions, about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll review our answers. And at the tail end of week 8, we'll also go over an overview of what the next version of this energy workshop will be. It'll be much more detailed, as you can tell.
Fail, you can grade us on that final.
Self-graded. Okay? Okay. So far everyone clear on where we're going?
Very good.
Okay, great.